We recommend that you bring the golf alignment aid along to your teaching professional to help you determine your correct stance width and posture. Your professional's advice will help you get the best from the golf alignment aid. This device is not a toy and should be kept in a safe place and out of reach of young children. Please ensure that you adhere to this guideline.
Hello, I'm Christy O'Connor. Let me introduce you to one of the finest golf aids I have ever seen. Number one of the greatest difficulties for a pro and amateur golfer alike is alignment on a golf hole. It's impossible when you're on your own to know that you're exactly lined up to where you want the ball to go to. Many of us in my own game make terrible mistakes, and we iron in those by aiming too far left and too far right, and it's a ruination of our game. But here we have today, which I think is the most simplest of all the aids I've seen in the game of golf. The first one is to show you where the ball is aligned to and arrowed to. The second one will teach you where the club selection can be moved back and forth. And the third one is for your foot position to tell you how wide your stance should be from your driver right down to your sand wedge. Well, from the very beginner right up to a pro golfer, the first most important thing he's going to look for is alignment to his target. If you're offline, you've got no chance of making a routine swing. The alignment aid number one is for direction, which is probably number one on the learning list. You line it towards your target, you peg it to the ground, it's set for you.
When you set up the golf alignment aid for the first time, you need to set the variable cursor. Loosen the screw, slide the cursor to the line at the right of +4 and tighten the screw. Next, add the foot position brackets to the aid. Slide on the left foot bracket first, at the slot cut to the right of the foot position rail. Slide it into position 0, then at the right foot bracket. This should slide to your stance width position, which we will look at shortly in the stance width chapter. To select the club you want to hit, slide the center rail to the club you require. For example, DR for driver, 5W for 5 wood. The iron selections shown here are 5, 7, 9, as well as pitching wedge and sand wedge. Now, point the top rail or target rail at your intended target. Then, secure the device to the ground with 2 long tees inserted in the 2 anchor holes on the foot position rail. Mark the ball position by placing a tee at the club position on the target rail. Here we have selected a 7 iron and pitching or sand wedge. When practicing, it will help to place another tee about 2 or 3 inches outside the ball position as a quick reference, so the ball position does not get lost once you take a divot. Now set your feet beside the rail and pull the target rail in towards you to ensure you do not strike it with the club head before attempting to hit the ball. You are now ready to hit the shot. Once you have lined up towards the target, make sure the club face is not open or closed, but is square to the target line.
Ball positioning is a very important part of the golf game. I see lots of people playing their 2 iron and their 9 iron off the same foot, the same distance, and right forward on the club, or playing them too far back in the stance. But here on this device, which is so important, are lines and numbers, and all you have to do is position the ball opposite the driver, you wedge right through to your 9 iron, and this is, to me, the most important part or club in your bag.
If you examine the ball position scale, you will see 4 dots appear on the scale. One beside the W, 3, 6 and 9 iron marks. Some people like to group their clubs and play all their shots from these 4 marks. In other words, play all woods from the W, long irons 2 to 5 from the 3, mid irons 6 to 8 from the 6 and short irons 9 to wedges from the 9.
Now this device not only aligns you to your target, but also gives you the correct stance width, which is very, very important. Here I have a driver width. The driver is opposite D. I've got my stance perfect. The ball is placed just inside my left heel, which is perfect for the driver. I've got a nice wide stance. As I come, I'll hand you that please. As I come to my mid iron, I've got a 6 iron here. I'll move my right foot a little. There we got a slightly narrow stance. And again, put it down opposite the number 6 on your aid here. And that's going to tell you where the ball is positioned, but also you've got the correct width in your stance. Thank you. As we move to the wedge, pitching wedge, sand wedge, lob wedge, very, very important. Again, we narrow our stance somewhat, moving up this little apparatus here. And now, opposite your pitching wedge and sand wedge, you place the head. Now we know we've got the correct width in our stance and the perfect ball position, and we know we're aligned to our target. So all 3 in 1, very, very important.
In order to achieve your correct stance width for the driver, you should ensure that your feet are shoulder width apart. Make sure that your shoulder width fits inside your 2 heels. For long irons to mid irons, take your driver's stance width and leave the left foot at 0. Move the right foot cursor in about 2 positions, for example from 16 to say 14. For short irons and wedges, leave your left foot at the 0 position and move the right foot cursor in 2 more positions from your longer irons, for example from 15